Hey guys, welcome to RVing with Tucker. I'm in the house here, working on making some sinkers for our fishing trips for the spring and summer and fall. So this is RVing with Tucker, but we're not RVing today. We're talking about sinkers, and so I want to show you how we pour our lead sinkers. We do use lead. You do want. I can't really show you the process of doing that because you really need to. Have a lot of ventilation if you do it indoors. I try to always do it outside, but if I do it indoors, I make sure that it's in front of an open window and I have a powerful fan that forces the air out the window, and also wear a respirator. I do deal with lead some at work, and so I know that it can be dangerous. And so let me just say this disclaimer: be careful. Make sure you do your research and wear all the proper protective equipment. So I can't really talk with that respirator on, so I'm going to show you just kind of how we do it, what we use to make the sinkers, and we'll just kind of go from there. So let me flip this thing around and we'll start. We'll start with our lead pot. This is called a lead pot, a production pot. This actually put the lead in the top. Powerful electrical magnet melts the lead in there, heats the lead to a liquid state, and then this little knob here is lifted, and the lead will actually pour out right there. This is cooled off, so don't worry. The lead will pour out right there, and you can control the amount that comes out. And we use a mold, and we've got several different kinds of mold. Let me pull this one out. You can see I kind of try to keep my molds organized. This is called a no roll sinker mold, and it makes 4 different sizes. It makes a 1 ounce, 1.5, a 2, and a 3 ounce, and this is the sinker that is made in that. You can see the shape of that. There's also a pin that goes in here before you begin to pour. That sits in there, and the reason that is that creates a hole through the center. If you can see that on camera, it creates a hole through the center there that you run your line through, and so it sits on the bottom just like that. So it is to keep from rolling. So if you're in a river with a lot of current, this will help to keep that sinker where it is, to keep your bait where you want it. So we use no rolls. We also use some other types of molds here. I'll pull our other ones out. We also use no roll is our favorite that we use for catfishing. Most of what we do is catfishing, fishing off the bottom. But when there are times that there are heavier, or our current is a little stronger, we need a little heavier weight, and that's when we use this Big Daddy. You can see I've got this upside down, but let me flip this over. Well, actually, I had it right to begin with. But you can see this is 2, 3, and 4 ounce, and this uses a little brass eye. So you have a little brass eye that goes into the mold. You can see it just kind of fits in like so. Presses in. That way you have when this molds, you'll have your sinker will have this brass eye that you can tie your line through. But we fill the lead up through the top of the mold here. Y'all excuse me, I'm recording this on the phone, but the lead pours through here, and then we remove it from the mold and store them. Now, storage is one of our things that we kind of have a problem with. It's hard to find containers to store bulk sinkers in that will hold them. Ziploc bags, bottoms will tear out of them. Right now I'm trying out these Ziploc twist lock, I think they're called. They're holding up pretty good. I did have one to crack when I dropped it, but you can't really fault it. But I pour 4 different types of sinkers. We've got 4 different types of mold. I showed you the no roll sinker. That's the one that the line kind of goes just straight through. If I can get it, there we go. Also, these are called river sinkers or coin sinkers. I call them donuts because to me they kind of look like a donut, except with don't have a hole through the middle there. And we also every once in a while we'll use these in some other areas that we fish. These are bass casting sinkers. It is simply just a sinker that is molded. We have a mold that you just it has a place to put the swivel, and it molds the sinker around the swivel so that you have a sinker with a brass eye and a swivel so that it doesn't get your line kinked up. We do use these in lighter areas where the current is not as strong in small rivers like the Hatchie River and things like that. Tennessee River, we mainly use the no rolls, and if the current's really fierce, we'll pull out these river sinkers here that are 4 ounces. We'll pull out the big daddies. We also pour a few crappie jig heads. I usually, 25 or 30 a year. Usually give a lot of these away, but these are just a different kind of mold with a specialty hook that is in there that is used to mold this. These are 1/8 ounce, I believe. But that is we do use some of those, and to keep track of those, I bought these little plastic bags on Amazon, and I just kind of put them in there to keep track of them. I used to tie a lot more crappie jigs than I do now. I don't tie that many, but usually I'll tie a few and put them in a little bag like this and throw it in my tackle box. That way I have them. But that's the 4 that we use, and we're using the Ziploc twist lock containers, and we're labeling the top of them with what we use. This is probably enough sinkers to last us all year with a lot to spare. We'll probably give away a lot of different sinkers. We'll probably not go through these. We usually don't lose a whole lot of sinkers. We may lose 3 to 4, maybe per. If we camp for a week and fish for a week, we might lose 3 or 4 in the whole week. But this is what we use. You might be asking the question, why do we choose to pour our own sinkers? Well, this sinker, this 4 ounce or even the 3 ounce version of this river sinker, if you go to a place like Academy Outdoors, you will pay $1 a piece for these. There's a pack of 3 ounce. There's a pack of 3 that will cost you $2.99. So $1 a piece. So that can get expensive. So you figure what you pay every time you lose one of these. That's a buck. We're able to buy the molds at a discounted price. We pay about $28.99 for our molds. The pot I've had for a few years, and I want to say, I can't really remember, between $50 and $75. And we buy our lead. I buy my lead at a scrapyard. I try to find some clean lead at a scrapyard and get it as a good price. I bought about 20 pounds of lead last year for, I think I paid $30, and I'm still working on that. I still haven't used all of that, but that's the reason we do that, is because we use these heavier weights. They're hard to find. You usually have to go to a large store, a large city to find them, and they're expensive. So this kind of helps us to offset that cost a little bit. Be able to also just be able to give sinkers to friends, give some crappie jigs to friends. I actually took a couple of little packs of our little jig heads here and gave to a friend today that does a lot of crappie fishing. So it is something that we do enjoy. It's part of being outdoors, and part of that trying to be self-sufficient in what we do and not depend on retail stores. But guys, I do appreciate you watching. Oh, also, by the way, before I forget, let me flip this around. I use to store my bulk sinkers. I believe this is well, you can see what it is there. This is an ammo can, the size you can see there. But this is what I use. I store my sinkers in here in these containers, and keep them in there. That way, we keep them in one place. Now, when we get ready for a fishing trip, we won't carry. We may carry this with us to the campsite, but we won't use. Well, we will just carry a few of each one that we think we need. We won't carry the whole bulk operation. We'll leave most of that behind. But just wanted to give you an idea of how we melt and our lead and how we pour sinkers. And do encourage you, if you are interested in doing this, do your research. Make sure you wear proper safety equipment. It is dangerous. Lead has some serious side effects, so you need to be careful when using it. Make sure you always wash your hands whenever you've been around lead. Don't go, be around a lot of lead, especially melting lead. Be aware of the fumes that come off of that. Make sure you got good ventilation. But it is an enjoyable hobby, and it is after you offset the cost of your molds and your pot, it saves quite a bit of money. You figure, we've probably got, just a rough guess, there's probably $150 worth of sinkers in this room right now if you pay the retail price. But we've only got very small fraction of that actually in the lead that made the sinkers. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. I hope this has been helpful to you as you get ready to get in the fishing world and start fishing. And maybe if you're thinking about doing this, maybe this will be an encouragement to you to get started in it. We'll talk to you later, guys. God bless, and have a great day.